Hey guys, we're going to do a quick video on something sprinkler related. We have over here uh, in our sprinkler system what is called a pressure vacuum breaker. And yesterday when I came out here, I noticed that this thing was leaking. I have since shut the valves off so you don't see the leaking. But what it means is if you see something like this on your sprinkler system, and again, as I said, this is the back pressure regulator basically for your sprinkler. So this is where my water comes in from the house, comes into this, and then goes to the sprinkler system. It's at high pressure, obviously, and this thing just regulates and makes sure that you don't get a backflow going. And so what was happening is, and I'm going to open this now and show you what was happening. So this is going to leak a lot, as you can see. So obviously that's not good. If you ever found that happening to you and you think, geez, now I need a plumber, don't worry. It's actually an easy fix, and that's what this video is going to do. We're going to show you how to fix it. Uh, the, the part is a Febco 765-1 PVB. That's the pressure vacuum breaker. And we will put a link in what you need. But generally, there are some parts in here, and we'll go over them. There's a bonnet, there's a poppet, and then there's a washer unit as well with some springs. What we're going to do is just replace those old ones out. I'm going to guess that when I open that up, we'll see some wear and tear. Here's the part, replacement part with the bonnet and the poppet. I decided to go with the original Febco part. You do get knockoff parts, which may or may not work. I just don't know. Just as a point of reference, this is the first time I'm having to deal with this in my home. We've lived here about 4 years, so the previous owner or somebody else may have set everything else that's in there. And then I also bought a washer that goes right down there. And this one isn't original. I'm just gonna go with whichever part I got. And we keep links in the description for where you can get these parts. We got them both at Amazon. I actually found Amazon a lot cheaper than like Home Depot or Lowe's, but you get these in any hardware store. What we're gonna need is we're gonna need a wrench. I have metric number 11. That's going to be what we need to get the top nut off. And then we may need to regulate the pressure in this thing when we start to work on it. So you'll need a Phillips flathead for some of these things. But other than that, that's all we're going to need. So let's try and get the, not sure what this thing is called. It's like a little umbrella thing that you see over here. And just one more thing, I noticed that whoever installed this, maybe a sprinkler guy or the previous owner, this is way too tight. You see there's no play on this. Actually, you're supposed to install this a little loose so that you get a little bit of play around this and just tighten it enough. So they had obviously tightened this too much, but that's fine. It's already broken, so we're gonna fix it. So we'll take this off. This little umbrella thing comes off. And the first thing I notice is that very likely these are not original parts from Febco, just from the color. I'm saying that the Febco ones are a little, brownish, goldenish brown. So whatever this is, these aren't working. So oftentimes this will just come out with your hands, as this one is, coming out. It's a little tight, or you could maybe put something in there. Maybe I'll need a screwdriver. You can put a screwdriver in here and just start to pry it open like that. So once you get that going, you may want to keep back because there could still be some pressure in there, but doesn't look like mine has. And if you felt that there was, then that's actually what this flathead is. You can open up the side valve over here by just turning it, and that kind of, as you see, lets out any excess pressure that might be there. So I'm going to just close that back up. We'll get this out and we'll take a look at what it is. If yours is stuck a lot more, there are grooves on the side here that are also designed for you to jam a screwdriver through to force it out if yours are really stuck on tight. But generally these come out pretty easily. So this is the bonnet, and then you can see the poppet is actually stuck on this and it's pretty worn out. So definitely this is why I have to replace this. And so this is the poppet. It also should have a washer that we see over here. And these look pretty worn, so it's obviously time to replace. Now underneath this, it's hard to see, but there's a little metal clip that sits over here. We're going to get that out as well. And then there's something like a little Christmas tree spring. I'm going to keep these here. And then here's where the washer is. So actually this washer looks like it's in pretty good shape, although it does look like a little bit of the Christmas tree spring is broken. And honestly, that's the part I thought would be the best. So I didn't get a replacement uh, spring. Maybe I need to do one. They are also available and sold separately. But the washer looks okay. And sometimes these are like worn out, but this one isn't. So what I'm gonna do, since I have to come back in and put a new spring, I'm gonna put the old one in and just see if it works. So I'm as I said, I do have a new one somewhere here. Seem to have, oh, here it is. So I do have the new one, but you know this looks pretty like it's still in pretty good shape, so I'm going to use it. So if I put this back in there, it sets in there, and then in our case, the broken spring, and I'm going to put this clamp back in so it stays secure. It takes a little, getting it in the hole, and then you push it down, you push the spring down, and then you can wiggle the clamp so it locks. And again, it's probably difficult to see in the video, but over here there are some clamps, and so it stays clear. So let's open the new parts for the bonnet and the poppet. It's very windy here, so I don't know how the audio is going to come out. If it's a little waffly because of the wind, apologies. But it's a windy fall day over here. I'm trying to get this done because obviously we don't want this leaking. So we're just going to get the parts out. Make sure we don't lose anything. So they've given us another nut for the top of the bonnet. So we'll use the new one. Why not? We'll keep the new one there. This is just a picture of the parts. And this is the bonnet, the new one. As I said, these are original. From the color, generally you should be able to tell as well. This goes over here, washer, and then they also have given us a little grease that we're going to put on the washers just so they stay a little tighter. So this thing's going to go this way when it goes in. So I'm going to put the grease just so we get a better fit, and since they gave it to us, may as well use it. So we got this going. I'm going to put the Poppet down, and then the bonnet threads in to the threads over here. And again, just want to, yeah, the washer is pretty tight in there. And again, you don't want to tighten this too much, just hand tightening it, because eventually you need to open it up. You have to replace it. And so now it's basically putting the cover back on, and I have a new nut that they gave us, and we will just tighten this up. Remember, we don't want to over tighten this. Always want to make sure that this can still turn around. So a little more. Yeah, I think this is it. As long as it can turn a little bit, that's all the tightening you need. Don't want to over tighten it. So hopefully that worked. And obviously, the moment of truth, I'm going to open this up and hopefully it doesn't leak. Now, there'll always be, as you open the valve, there'll always be some leakage because that's actually also why you want to keep this cap a little loose. The first time the valves are opened, there will be some water coming through, but eventually this should stop. If it doesn't, then there's something else wrong that I wasn't able to fix. Maybe the spring that was broken, maybe the washer. So this, well, firstly, you can see it's a lot better than what we were seeing when I first came through, but I am a little bit concerned that there is still some coming down. I'm just gonna, some water still leaking. So I think something else needs to be fixed, probably the washer or the spring. But anyway, even though this wasn't a fully successful fix this time, at least you got to see how to replace the bonnet and the poppet. We looked at the springs as well and the washer. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try putting a new washer in, but before I do that, I'm knowing that my spring is broken and I don't have a new one on me. I'm going to order a new spring. And we'll replace the spring. We'll put in a new washer as well since I have that. And we'll come back and finish this up and show you how this works. But for now, I'm going to shut these back again because even though we fixed a lot of the leaking, there is still some going. So this is what you'd have to do. And just maybe I should have said this at the beginning. If you do find this leaking, obviously, close these two valves until you get the new parts to replace. But we will come back and we will finish this up and let you know how it worked out. Okay, guys, so we're back. I have a new Christmas tree spring and it comes in a set. So I also got a new retainer and also the check valve assembly. This is the part. This is not an original Febco. Again, this one worked for me the best. We'll put a link to this as well. They also have instructions that came with this retainer spring kit. Looks like it's really from the Febco manual, but there's no branding, so obviously this is not a Febco part. But if you needed this is also a nice place to look at the whole assembly all the way up from the check valve to the canopy if you needed that as well. So we're gonna go replace it. I already took out the bonnet and the poppet because you guys already saw how that is done. So this is open, so now the check valve goes in. It sits in pretty easily. There's not much needed to be done. The spring on top and then the retainer clip goes in this way. So we will push this in, and it's hard to see, but I'm using 2 fingers, push the retainer clip all the way down, and this part can be a little tricky because of just the way the clip is designed. So there you go. At some angle it kind of goes in, and then you swing it around, in this case kind of perpendicular to the house, and that's where the retainer clip is. And you need to have the white little plastic thing from the check valve should poke through the retainer clip, the middle hole. And I'm pushing down. I can see that the spring is set correctly as well, and so is the retainer clip, although I'm gonna just make sure it's fully in where it needs to be. Yeah, I think that's the retainer clip is correctly installed now. So we'll put the poppet and the bonnet assembly back in. So this we saw last time. So we'll just arrange this correctly, align it correctly, and get the threads in. threads are not right, so I'm just gonna make sure it's all aligned again. Yeah, I think that's correct now. So I'm gonna put this nice and tight back in. And the grease from the last time was still active. I could still feel it on my hand, so I didn't need to re-grease. So have the assembly in correctly. Now we need the canopy to go back, and hope this works. Again, we have the number 11 wrench. Just gonna tighten this, and again, remember, we don't want to over tighten this. You want to keep a little play so that the canopy can turn a little bit. So this is kind of tight, and so I'll back off a little so that the canopy can move around a little like that. So yeah, just a little tighter, maybe a little tighter, but yeah, so see there's still play in the canopy, and that's where we want it to be. These are closed up, so it's sort of the moment of truth. Make sure that this works now. Open this. There will be a little bit of a burst up. It's normal as it engages, but then hopefully it should be fine after that. And so there you go. This is just the regular water that just comes through. There's no leak like we saw before. It's a little bit coming from here. That's just from the installation, I think. We'll give it maybe another 30 seconds and make sure that there's, no actual leak going on. But there you go. I mean, this looks fine. There's no leak as we had before. This is assembled correctly. Still a little drip here. I'll open the pressure and readjust it, but that long drip that we had is gone. I think the entire thing needed to be replaced. And so there you have it. We have this functional again. It's an easy fix. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and hope you enjoyed it, found it useful. If it was, give us a like, give us a comment if you had anything to say, and God bless. Thank you.